Welcome, my name's Ian Burns. I'm the Community Engagement Officer for the Avoca Fire Brigade, and socially distanced down the end of the table is Andrew Neale, and he's our captain. And we're sitting in front of our fine truck here, as you can see in the background. What we want to do today is just talk to those people who have rural properties in our brigade area. And the first thing I want to say is to thank you all. One of the biggest issues we face in the rural fire service are pile burns, which everybody gets very enthusiastic about towards the end of winter. And so far we've only had one call out this year, in our area, which means that everybody has been basically doing the right thing. But what I want to say to you, and following the procedures, logging on to the RFS website on Notify, downloading appropriate documents like this, standards for pile burning for instance, and following the rules, which is great. But as we're coming up to the start of the fire season, a lot of people feel pressure about burning before the fire season starts, because after that they need to get, in inverted commas, permit, which can be a bit mysterious to some people. So I'm going to ask Andrew now just to explain what a permit is and the simple way you can get one. So what we don't want people to do in the next couple of weeks is panic about burning their piles. If they need to get a permit, Andrew's going to tell you how to get one. Andrew.
Thanks, Ian. In short, the easiest way to get a permit is to actually ring the office, ring our fire control centre. They will tell you who the relevant officer is in your area to issue a permit. Most of the time in our area that'll be myself. Also my senior deputy can also do them in my absence. All it requires is us to attend the site, complete the paperwork approving that it's an appropriate pile burn, modify if need be if it's not, and then issue that out to you on a up to 3 week basis, so you can then allow for the right weather conditions to get that pile burn done in the right time and the right manner.
Thanks, Andrew. The next thing I want to talk about is what the fire season looks like. We've all had some pretty good rain here, so we're all feeling pretty confident we're going to have a good spring for our farms. But I'd ask Andrew just to share the sort of latest RFS info on what the weather looks like and what the fire season's really going to look like, at least in the initial part of it.
Ironically, of course, weather predictions is one of those jobs that you can get wrong every day and still keep your job. But so they're not always entirely accurate, and the longer term we go, the less accurate they get. But the fire season for this year looks predominantly to have a lot of actual rain in it, which is good for us in terms of bushfires in particular and the rain levels for this season. Although that doesn't necessarily discount fires in general, and especially grass fires. Grass fires will probably be more common this year, given that we've had substantial growth already in the grasslands leading up to it, and as it dries off, even if we have had rain, grass fires will still be happy to be running across those dry tops of the grass, regardless of the moisture levels in the soil. But hopefully overall, their prediction of a moist and damp fire season for us this year hopefully means we haven't got as high a risk as we have had in past years, especially what everyone remembers from 2 years ago.
Okay, what we'd like to do now is go inside and show you a map of our fire area and talk about what the situation is as far as your particular risks for your particular location.
All right, here we are now in our station here at Avoca. This is our big screen. I'm just going to utilise it at the moment to identify some of the areas and the risks and issues we may have both in fire preparedness and in fire activity potentials for our area. Where the screen is at the moment is pretty much covering what is our area of concern in terms of the Avoca Brigade area. We're covering all the way across to the eastern side of the Fitzroy Falls reservoir and across the gorge to the Wherry Exodus on this side. As you can see plainly shown by this map, one of the areas of our biggest concern is the Marilla Forest and that definitive green section. The rest of the area is predominantly developed farmland, residential into Fitzroy Falls, Avoca, and even the small section here for Fitzroy Falls, but still a lot of isolated properties as well scattered through that area. History shows us that in past years, past fire seasons where we have had issues, as far back as 1965, 1983, and the season everyone remembers from 2019-2020. Our western side here with fires that come across through this green area cause major threats to the villages and the farms through Avoca. In the 2019-2020 season, the actual bushfire we managed to pull up here at the watercourse across there, which leaves bushfire threats quite predominantly in all the other green area that hasn't been burnt now for a number of years. In the rest of the area around, especially up in the Avoca Sheepwash Road up to the roundabout up here for the Illawarra Highway, you've got a lot of open farmland, a lot of grassland, and also the 2019-2020 season we had a fire in Cleary's Lane, which is just down here, which ran the other way, which came from the east and ran up the hill here and was actually potentially causing threats up towards the school area, up towards Sheepwash Road and those properties up there as well. The main concern to us is this gives us a number of ways that we can have fire issues, but also a number of ways in which they will start on us too. The weekend before last even, we had a lightning strike, and when we were talking before about weather, the forecast for this summer will potentially have a number of those good summer afternoon storms with the lightning strikes, which is an issue down here in the green, but which is also a large issue up in the grasslands. Trees getting hit, starting grass fires around them, which will run quite quickly as well. The other thing that section up there with the farmlands poses to us is the farming itself. Tractors, slashing activities, and other farming activities that can cause possible sparks and set those grass fires off for us as well. So we have a number of different things in our area that affect those areas differently, but we need to be watching all possible ways and being prepared for the different types of fires and the different types of ignitions.
We're back outside again, and what I want to talk about is what you can do now to prepare to make sure you're on the front foot. First of all, you need to dust off your farm firewise plan. If you haven't got one of these, just let us know and via our Facebook page, and I'll get one delivered to you. If you're with us in 2019, 2020, I'm pretty sure you would have done this, okay? If you're new to the area, and surprisingly there is a lot of movement, you may never have seen one of these documents before in your life. So please get it out, dust it off. You can download it off for the RFS website if you wish, or I can deliver you a hard copy like this. Go through it, answer all the questions, discuss it with your family. One of the very important things that's going to be in here is for you to be able to establish in a fire emergency, what is your trigger? What is your plan of action? And your trigger is, when am I leaving? So what happens that's going to make sure that you get in the car and you're out of there? So that's a very important thing. I'm now going to introduce Andrew, and Andrew's going to tell us what else you can do around your property to make sure it's prepared.
Thanks, Ian. What I wanted to quickly cover was, in the preparation side of things, was the actual property preparation stuff as well. We need to keep all the lawns mown, the grass short and stuff, especially for those grass fires and, if possible, sparks ahead of bushfires. But actual general property maintenance stuff as well. So keeping any fallen timber cleared up, not stacking the firewood against the hay shed, and the house as well. Look at the maintenance of the house. Is it open eaves that need to be closed in? Is there tiles on the roof that are cracked and need to be fixed where embers can get into a ceiling? Is there verandas? Is there other things that you need to do around the house to make it more capable of coping with the fire itself as well? But if you're planning to stay, if you're planning to try and protect your own property, test all your equipment before we get to the fire season. Make sure you've got pumps that are all working properly. Make sure you have fuel standbys and stuff, but stored safely, that they're not going to be a fire risk themselves. Do you already store fuel on the farm? Are there bulk storage that you need to address as being potential fire risks in themselves? and any other sort of general maintenance that may be specific and probably is covered off, as Ian mentioned, in those farm-wise plans. That might prompt you to go, I should be looking at that now, not when the fire's at your doorstep. Having said that too though, there are a lot of rural properties that either have farm managers looking after that sort of stuff for them, and we can also refer back to the other bushfire survival plan, again available in hard copy or from the RFS website, in terms of those sort of more residential property preparations if you aren't too concerned about the farm side of things as well. The other thing Ian mentioned was trigger points and stuff. The key part is not leaving too late. So if you're going to stay, don't stay until it's too late to go. Have that trigger point in place to get in the car, get out of there before we have to come knocking on the door, or before it's too late for us to even be anywhere near your property. So ideally I could probably talk for another 10 or 15 minutes on all the ins and outs and intricacies of the things that may be issues in terms of property maintenance, but the key is to get those plans out, dust them off, go over them and discuss them with your family. Make sure the whole family knows, anybody that works on your property knows that everyone has the same plan and they're all working with the same story. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Andrew. So thanks again for watching. Let's hope we can get back to face-to-face meetings in 2022. And if you have any questions at all, just message us on Facebook, and we'll be happy to come back to you at a time that suits you and answer your specific questions to make sure your property and you are in tip-top condition for the fire season. Thanks for watching.